Measures to prevent spread of COVID-19. The Senate suspends all public hearings. Plus, Nigeria Governors Forum constitutes 7-man committee to assess impact of COVID-19. Hello and welcome to the news at 7 on NTA International, and we sincerely apologize for starting the news late. A high-powered National Humanitarian Coordination Committee has been inaugurated in a deliberate attempt by the federal government towards facilitating the smooth conduct of humanitarian activities in the country. President Muhammadu Buhari performed the ceremony, tasked members to ensure that all obstacles impeding the delivery of humanitarian aid to the people who are in need are dismantled. Details of that report will be brought to you in a subsequent bulletin. And moving on, 4 critical projects aimed at enhancing the development of Nigeria's national digital economy, as well as supporting efforts at securing the country achieving self-reliance and reducing poverty, have been inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari. Performing the ceremony at Mumbora district of Abuja, the president said the nation's budgetary projections adversely affected by the dwindling oil prices. Diversification of the economy is now a matter of urgency. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports.
The projects inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari were the Communications and Digital Economy Complex, the National Broadband Plan 2020 to 2025, Nigerian Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship Training Program, as well as the Emergency Communications Center and toll-free number 112, aimed at keeping Nigeria and indeed Nigerians safe.
This is President Muhammadu Buhari.
President, you have an emergency?
Without mincing words, President Muhammadu Buhari described digital technologies as indispensable platforms for a safe, secure and prosperous Nigeria.
We have taken advantage of digital technologies to ensure that Nigerians in distress are only a dial away from the relevant emergency response institutions in the country. This will go a long way in supporting our efforts to improve the security of lives and property.
The Digital Nigeria program, the president said, is one of the federal government's key initiatives towards empowering innovators and entrepreneurs with skills required to thrive, thereby making Nigeria an active participant in the global digital enterprise.
It is part of our efforts to ensure that our youth, women, unemployed graduates, and people living with disabilities either become employees of labor or get a large number of well-paying jobs, thereby contributing to the national drive of lifting Nigerians out of poverty.
The federal government, he said, is committed towards ensuring that all stakeholders in the implementation of the National Broadband Plan have a conducive environment to operate, including the deployment of 4G networks across Nigeria.
I therefore urge the mobile network operators to ensure full attainment of the targets set in the plan and to also give special attention to unserved and underserved areas while deploying their services.
Convener of the event and Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, described as fulfilling the giant strides recorded so far towards the realization of digital Nigeria.
Broadband is key to our economy. As we all know, the agenda of our boss centers around 3 things. Firstly, security. Secondly, economic development. And thirdly, fighting corruption. At the time that other sectors are in trouble because of coronavirus, digital sector comes on board to provide an alternative for all of us, and that is what we are leveraging.
Highlights of the ceremony was a guided tour by President Muhammadu Buhari of facilities and exhibition stands of various ICT projects, programs and products. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has directed a repositioning of the economy, starting with a review of the 2020 budget to reflect realities in the oil sector and prioritizing health sector infrastructure to respond to the threats posed by COVID-19. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President gave the directive after the second regular meeting of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, which also recommended securitization of government debt, design and institutionalization of revenue stabilization program, and the imperative of cutting the cost of governance at all levels. The meeting highlighted immediate and short-term measures to consider and implement in order to mitigate any adverse effects of economy and reviewed coronavirus pandemic and its potential economic spillover effect on global and Nigeria economy. In the meantime, the Lagos State government has confirmed that 4 new persons have tested positive to the deadly coronavirus, bringing the total number of cases in the state to 11. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, disclosed this during a press briefing on the update of COVID-19 in the state. Contingency plans are on the ground to receive Nigerians in the diaspora back home amidst COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission is exploring avenues to boost diaspora remittance for economy post-COVID-19. On Nengie Fineface reports.
And you'll be surprised that Nigerians in diaspora themselves are already having conversations around the next steps to take and the role they will play in all this, even if it is about even providing emergency services. So we're working with our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, mapping out plans, programs on the role they can play. How is it going to affect, for instance, their remittances to Nigeria? How is it going to affect their contributions to their various families? And then what synergy can we have to ensure that they play a major role in all this as we go?
Abike Dabiri was there explaining contingency plans to cushion impact of COVID-19 on diaspora investment and remittances. Meanwhile, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission is building capacity of its staff as the bridge between the nation and its citizens abroad. It's a continuum of trainings to produce needed outcome of non-oil revenue with support from Nigerians in diaspora. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
And while Nigeria delights in welcoming the world to the safety and protection of its citizens and land must take priority, various agencies of government, including media owned by government, have embarked on rigorous campaigns promoting hygiene measures. There are currently very stringent regimes of checks at air and sea entry into the country. The effort Nigeria is making is well known and has already received commendation by the World Health Organization. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, said the presidency wishes to assure Nigerians that government is on top of the situation and there's no cause for panic. So far, measures put in place are working efficiently, and what the country is doing has been recommended as a template. And as the world grapples with the coronavirus pandemic, confirmed by cases worldwide have passed 200,000, while more than 8,000 people have died. Here is Joyce Ometu with an overview of steps taken to contain the pandemic in Africa and the world over.
The coronavirus pandemic is currently affecting about 176 countries around the world, 33 in Africa alone. The World Health Organization Director, Tedros Ghebreyesus, has warned the African continent to wake up and prepare for the worst, as several countries have imposed stringent measures to guard against COVID-19. So far in Africa, Burkina Faso has registered the first death in sub-Saharan Africa. In response to the developments, South Africa has ordered all bars to close or limit their patrons to a maximum of 50, at a risk of a fine or even imprisonment. It has also banned all cruise ships from its ports. This is just as Kenya has suspended worship in some churches and mosques. The government says it will manufacture its own hand sanitizer and distribute it for free. Meanwhile, Uganda, Zimbabwe and Botswana have closed all schools. Chad has also suspended all passenger flights and closed some land borders, just as Liberia has stopped issuing passports to stop people traveling and potentially pick up the virus abroad. Reports have it that Algeria has banned protests, suspends air travels. In other parts of the world, China reported no new domestically transmitted case in the country for the first time since the virus emerged late December. Australia and New Zealand have closed their borders to foreigners. And this comes just as the European Union chief Brexit negotiator, Michael Barnier, has tested positive for coronavirus. In the United States, President Donald Trump has enacted powers to ramp up production of vital medical supplies. He has also signed a $100 billion bill to cover free testing and paid sick leave. And reports coming from the United Kingdom hazard that schools and dozens of London Underground stations are to be shut. And that's a global update on COVID-19. Thanks for watching. I am Joyce Omitu.
And the U.S. President Donald Trump says the U.S. is fast-tracking the anti-malaria drug chloroquine for use as a treatment against the new coronavirus. President Donald Trump speaks on the latest development of the coronavirus outbreak while flanked by the U.S. Surgeon General Jerome Adams.
Now, this is a common malaria drug. It's also a drug used for strong arthritis. We're going to be able to make that drug available almost immediately, and that's where the FDA has been so great. They've gone through the approval process. It's been approved, and they did it. They took it down from many, many months to immediate. So we're going to be able to make that drug available by prescription.
However, the FCDA Commissioner Stephen Hahn indicated that while the drug has not yet been formally approved, access to it was being expanded so that authorities could gather more data. Chloroquine is a synthetic form of quinine which has been used to treat malaria since the 1940s. The drug has recently been used to treat coronavirus patients in China and in France, where some researchers said it showed great promise, though scientists agree that it needs more trials for it to work and be safe. This is the news on NTA International. It's time to take a break now. We'll be back shortly with more reports.
Today or 4 days when my girls won't come visit me, I need to come go expire.
Oh, my guys, they can't follow me watch this match. I must not fold the hand.
Babe, what's happening now? Sorry to disappoint you, but my subscription don't expire.
The match is not on my GoTV package.
Now your holla be that. I beg, give me your phone. Make I show you how you go take do it for my GoTV app for your phone.
Life is so much easier with my GoTV app. Make payments, clear error messages, change your package. You can also check your due dates and keep abreast of your payment history. The new My GoTV app is everything you need in one place. So what are you waiting for? Download My GoTV app now from Google Play or App Store to enjoy the easy life. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Welcome back to the news. President Muhammadu Buhari's administration has taken some steps to mitigate the effect of the Nigerian people, like every other country around the world is dealing with the unexpected and unprecedented impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. To prevent the spread of cases imported into the country, the president has already ordered restriction of travels from 13 countries, each with more than 1,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Government has also suspended visa issued to nationals of these countries. The restriction takes effect from March 20th and will remain till further notice. While Nigerians delight in welcoming the world, the safety and protection of its citizens and land must take priority. The various agencies of government, including media owned by government, have embarked on vigorous campaigns promoting hygiene measures. There are currently a very stringent regime of checks at point of entry, especially at the air and sea ports. The effort Nigeria is making is also well known and has received commendations by the World Health Organization. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Gerber Shehu, says the President wishes to assure Nigerians that the government is on top of the situation and there's no cause for panic. So far, measures put in place are working efficiently, and what the country is doing has been recommended as a template. The Nigerian Governors Forum has constituted a 7-man committee to assess the impact of COVID-19 and develop comprehensive strategies in containing the spread of the virus. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that the committee, which is headed by the Governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, has no specific time frame for delivery of his assignments.
The growing impact of coronavirus in high-risk countries of the world and the recent confirmation of the 8th index case in Nigeria is getting the 36 state governors of the country worried. This perhaps necessitated the constitution of an emergency response committee to assess the impact of the virus on the economy and strengthen capacity in combating this scourge.
The forum constituted a subcommittee consisting of the governors of Kaduna, Kebbi, Ebonyi, Ogun, Nasarawa, Edo, and Jigawa to comprehensively review the trend and advise state governments on the set of actions required to address challenges in our economy.
The forum also receives update on COVID-19 from the Minister of Health, Dr. Osagie Hanure, and proposed synergy for the establishment of test and isolation centers in each of the 36 states of the country.
Governors pledged to work with the Ministry of Health to set up functional test and isolation centers in every state in the country.
They all offered to play a role, which was very good, it was very heartening. And if I wanted to know the cost of building isolation centers, the cost of the equipment, the cost of the machines.
NGF pledged to work closely with Nigerian Economic Summit Group, Global Citizens and Value-Based Leadership from the West African Leadership Initiative to fully utilize competitive advantage around geographical corridors and economic belts. The forum welcomed Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, who is attending NGF meeting for the first time, and commiserated with the government and people of Lagos State over the Abule Adu gas explosion in Abuja. Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
And staying with the effect of COVID-19, the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs advised all Muslim organizations, mosque committee, imams, scholars, and dawah activists and the general Muslim Ummah to adhere strictly to all public health directives and regulations provided by competent authorized organizations such as the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and the federal and state ministries of health regarding COVID-19. The Supreme Council, in a statement signed by Professor Salisu Shehu, Deputy Secretary General of the Council, says it is obligatory for everyone to take all necessary precautions to prevent the spread of the disease. Regarding congregational prayers in affected places, including Friday prayers and funeral, the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs advised that people with compromised immunity, such as the elderly, children, those with underlying health conditions, among others, should observe their prayers in their homes or wherever they are and pray Zuhr in place of Friday's Jummah prayers. And to ensure work environment is free from coronavirus infection, the Nigerian Labour Congress wants employers to strengthen preventive mechanism at workplace, aligning with the recommendations of the World Health Organization and the federal government on how to maintain good sanitation and quality hygiene to prevent the spread. NLC wants workers to comply with all the prescriptions to make work environment conducive for productivity.